Welcome to Confessions. It's where I guess you could say a wandering philosopher of religion goes around thinking about like different concepts. Again, I'm mostly going to focus on Christianity because that's where my area of it's where my area of study has been. I don't want to say expertise because not an expert. I'm just a person who loves religion. So, one thing that I've been thinking about is the Lord's Prayer as a concept. We all know it. It's Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And then, for thine is the kingdom. That part is kind of in there, but it's like usually parentheses in there. So it's usually added as a little bit of flair. Anywho, there's a sheer wisdom to it because it creates, it starts off by creating that separate dimension. Our Father who art in heaven. I know Christianity likes to talk about the relationship of God as a father versus God as a God. I tend to avoid that comparison personally for me, just because I still think that there is an aspect to it that we don't fully comprehend. We see in other writings of Jesus, in other teachings that are canonical in the Bible and the Gospels, he talks about the shrewd tenant, talks about the parable of the three tenants. Basically, it paints much more of a master servant type of relationship. And I mean that in a positive way. Humanity's always had these patriarchal structures. I know people are going to hate that, but there's always been that power dynamic with human. There's always been like a master, always been a servant. And in Taoist philosophy, Confucianist philosophy, one of the 5 principal relationships is the emperor and the subject. Kind of fascinating, right? You're always going to have that relationship. You're always going to have someone in authority over you. It's always been kind of a personal struggle of mine because I don't respect authority. Typically speaking, it takes a lot for me to actually put my ego aside and to submit myself to people that are in authority above me. So it's really interesting that the Lord's Prayer starts specifically with, let's establish the power dynamic. Let's separate. One of the other relationships in Confucianism is father and child, or parent and child. So it's interesting that there's that universal application too. So, anywho, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. What does hallowed mean? Typically it means sanctified, or typically it means set apart. Holy. Holy is your name. Set apart is your name. That's a concept I don't think we truly comprehend. So, purely from a secular standpoint, let's try to deduce that. Does entropy care about humanity? No. It's going to keep on functioning. It's going to keep on doing what it has to do. So it's separated. So for me personally, I see it as more of acknowledgement of our humanity when we say it. So we establish that there's a higher power. We establish that there is separation of that higher power. And we submit ourselves to that will. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. To give us this day our daily bread. much more like a pragmatic, like give us what we need today to survive. Daily bread back then was bread, fish, like nutrients. It might be a little bit different today. You can be like, help me pay my bills. Could be anything like that. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. But one thing, I think our society has become extremely guilt-ridden. And it kind of breaks my heart because, I see people who keep doing the same thing, the same toxic behaviors over and over again, myself included. I'm not excusing myself from this. It's observations I've made in my own personal life because I've stepped back and looked at it from a broader perspective. I've been able to notice these trends ongoing, but give us this bread, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. Basically, what that's saying, and you can go with the Irish prayer, like give us the wisdom, or give us the strength to resist sin, give us the wisdom to know. Can't remember where the damn thing is. Anyway, who cares? This is probably not going to be seen by anyone. I've got no views yet, which is kind of funny. So give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. I think one of the first things that we need to do is forgive ourselves for the things that we've done wrong. How many of us look back at our past and cringe at the cringy things that we've done? Like that's a feeling of shame. Like, to me, that specifies, hey, you didn't deal with that. You didn't deal with your emotions in that moment. You need to deal with that so that way you can move forward in life. And I think so many of us stagnate ourselves because we don't appropriately process our feelings, appropriately take responsibility for our actions. And so really for me, like the Lord's Prayer in a purely pragmatic standpoint is, it's kind of like that breath of fresh air. Like, hey, there's some things that I can't control, and there are some things that I can control. The things that I can control, I ask for the serenity, the peace of mind, the resources, whatever it is to manifest those. I'm using words that people like, manifestation in this day and age. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. That's huge. That's huge, especially when you look at religions, how a lot of like organized religions have weaponized guilt and shame. That was never the intended purpose of it. It was always intended to center us. Personally, I think humanity is a wonderful thing. I think we are destined for more than this 9-to-5 life. This, for lack of a better terms, wage slavery. I think we were destined for freedom. I think we were destined for living a life that is fulfilling for us, is fulfilling for the next generation, and is fulfilling in the grand cosmic scheme. Like, love him or hate him, Elon Musk wants to bring humanity to Mars, which I think is a noble goal. I think we should look into developing our influence on our solar system. We have an entire solar system to explore. Obviously, there's some things of his that I disagree with. But I just think that if we take on the responsibilities that we are responsible for, if we take on ownership for our actions, and focus on developing that purpose, and also accept our position in the world, accept that we can't control things, I think that will be beneficial in the long run. So again, to kind of break down my overall analysis as secular as possible, because, I understand if you don't want to actually practice religion, so here is just the nuts and bolts that are applicable to you, and again, tying it in with other thoughts, other philosophies. So, you can't control everything. The universe is going to do what the universe is going to do. God is going to do what God is going to do regardless. So what your best bet is to just unify yourself with that flow, ride that wave through. It could be however you see it. Religion is a very individualistic response. Again, it's how one chooses to respond to the divine. You may think there is no divine, this is just random chance. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But then that means that there's that random chance that we're riding with that actually made us be conscious. So we should ride along with that. We should align ourselves with the random chance and see how far we can actually go. That's one aspect of it. Push the boundaries, expand. The other aspect is ownership. Be responsible. Forgive yourself, forgive others for the wrongs that they've done to you. Statistically, I really feel like I think there's only about 5% actually evil people, maybe 10% actually good people. The rest is just kind of in the middle ground. That other 80% is just somewhere in the ether. There could be more, there could be less. I don't know. I like those as just nice round numbers. But taking that into perspective, most people don't intentionally do harm to you. I don't think. I think it's usually some type of projection because they haven't dealt with their own harm. I hate it, but hurt people do hurt people. And we've got a lot of hurt people we can look at, like older generations, and they still haven't processed through a lot of the trauma that they went through. Us as millennials, we're fortunate that we have the resources that we do have, because I can literally record myself talking to absolutely no one on a phone, upload it to the world's largest video sharing platform. Again, like, this is just a tremendous blessing. So, my lessons for today is forgive your parents, because chances are they probably didn't mean to fuck you up. They probably just didn't deal with their past trauma. So that is my hopes for you. That is the essence of what I've been thinking about. Again, if you watch this, if this helps, which I hope it does to somebody, I hope, even if it's just one person who listens to this video and it helps them somehow think differently, if it just helps them somehow put into action what they need to do, that is the only reason I do this. So I know for me, it's a cathartic release. It's a good way to get some of my thoughts out. But I do truly hope that this is a benefit to you. And if it is, let me know. If it's not, we can debate. I'd love to debate. The whole purpose is I either want to start a dialogue with people so we can actually get to the truth, or I want to see what I do help someone else. So, blessings on you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you have the best possible life that you can have. Blessings.